This video is for the composite function worksheet. In this one, I'm only going to do the odds, 1, 3, 5, and so on. You're going to be on your own for the evens. Therefore, you can see how well you understand it. When you have a composite function, what you want to do is always just go to the farthest inside and start there. So right here I have g of -3. So I'm going to go to the function, the g function, and I'm going to replace x with -3. So right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve that. I have 3 times -3. What is 3 times -3? That would be -9. Okay, so g of -3 is -9. Okay, now we take that and just write the solution. Like that. I just solved g of -3, got -9. Now we go to the next function out. In this next function out, we have f of -9. So I'm going to go to the f function and plug in a -9, giving me 2 parentheses -9 minus 1. What's 2 times -9? That would be -18 minus 1. -18 minus 1 is -19, and that's the answer. Make sure to circle your answers. Okay? Let's clean this up just a little bit. Okay, and the next one. Again, I start in the middle, the center, the most center function I can get, and I get h of 7. So I'm going to go to the h function and plug in a 7. So I have 7 squared plus 1. 7 squared is 49. So 49 plus 1 is 50. So now I'm going to put that where h of 7 is, because h of 7 is 50. So I have f of h of 7 is 50, and that's all the parentheses. And if there's more functions than that, you just write them all back out, and then again start in the middle and go back through. And I said I was only going to do odds, but for some reason I did number 2. Sorry, you got lucky on that one. Anyway, f of 50, so I'm going to plug 50 in right there. I've got 2 times 50 minus 1 is 100 minus 1, giving you 99. And make sure to show all your work. Okay, back to the odds. Now this one looks different than this, but it's the exact same thing. I can rewrite this as g of h of 24. Same thing. Okay, those two are identical. So let's start in the middle, h of 24. So I'm going to go to h, 24. So 24 squared plus 1. 24 times 24, I'm going to do that on the calculator. I can't do that in my head, is 576. So I have 576 plus 1. 576 plus 1 is 577. Now I'm going to fill that in. So I still have that g of the h of 24. h of 24 is 577. So now I'm going to go to the g function and plug in 577. So I have 3 times 577, and 3 times 577 is 1731. That's my answer. Okay, let's go on to number 5. Number 5, this one has 3 functions. Again, start only in the middle. So the very center, we're just going to find out what f of 5 is. F of 5 is the same thing as 2 times 5 minus 1. I'm going up to the f function and plugging in a 5 right there. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9. So I know f of 5 is 9. So let's rewrite the rest of it. H of g of 9. Okay, now we start in the middle again. What's g of 9? So we go up to g, and that's 3 times x. So 3 times x, or 9. See, we're plugging in a 9 for x, right? 3 times 9 is 27. So we'll rewrite it again. H of 27. And that's all the rest of it. So now we go back up to the h. Now we're going to put a 27 in there. We have 27 squared plus 1. 27 squared is 729. 729 plus 1 is 730. There's my answer for number 5. Just start in the middle and work your way out. Okay, number 7. Oh, I went down too far. I need to be able to see that. Okay, number 7. Number 7, we have f of x plus 1. All we need to look at is what's replacing x. In this case, it's x plus 1. So that is what goes in for x. So we have 2 times x. What is x? X is x plus 1 minus 1. What's 2 times x? That's 2x. What's 2 times 1? Plus 2 minus 1. What's 2 minus 1? That's 1. So the answer is 2x plus 1. Okay, just because we don't get a number doesn't mean anything. Okay, so what am I replacing x with here? X is being replaced with x minus 2. All right, so I'm going to take that x minus 2 and put it right there. And I have parentheses, always use parentheses, x minus 2 squared plus 1. And I'm okay if you leave it just like that. If you don't know how to square parentheses like that, don't worry about it. Just leave it like that, and that can be your answer. Okay? And same here. I would have accepted this right here. Okay? You don't have to simplify it more than that. Okay. Let's go down to number 11. Okay? Let g of f of x. And again, that's the same way as writing it like this. Okay? And we're just going to go to the middle. And what are we replacing here? Well, f of x. We're not replacing x with anything. We're replacing x with x. So we just rewrite that, giving us g of, what is f of x? Negative 3x plus 7. Okay? So now we took f of x and put it right in for, replace that, and rewrote the rest of it. Now we're plugging that whole piece right in there in for x itself, for the g function. So we have 2 times x. What is x? Well, that's going to be negative 3x plus 7 squared minus 8. I'll accept that answer. Okay, you don't have to square it right now. You haven't been taught how to do that. That answer is perfectly fine with me, so I can see that you knew what you were doing. Make sure to show each step so that I can see what's being plugged in where. Okay. Now, number 13. If, well, I guess I can scroll it down. If f of x is this and g of x is this, find f of g of 10. So f of g of 10. That means I am replacing this right here first, because I go to the center first. G of 10. So I'm taking 10 and plugging it in right there, giving me the square root of 10 minus 9. What's 10 minus 9? That's 1. What's the square root of 1? That's 1. Okay, and you can type it on all in a calculator to help you if you need to. So f of 1. I just take what we solved and put it right back in there. F of 1. So now what's f of 1? Let's put a 1 right there. We have negative 9 times 1 minus 9. What's negative 9 times 1? That's negative 9. Negative 9 minus 9 is negative 18. So that's our answer right there. And this can be confusing if you don't just stop and just look at just the pieces. This is one of those times in math where if you look at the whole thing and try to solve it all at once, it's going to get confusing. So let's rewrite this one. G of f of 2, negative 2. So I'm replacing this piece right here. You go to the innermost piece. Okay, f of negative 2. What is f of negative 2? Well, we go to the f function and plug in a negative 2 for x, giving me negative 3, negative 2 for x, plus 4. All I'm doing is rewriting the f function with the negative 2. Notice I'm ignoring the rest of it. I'm only looking at that piece. What is negative 3 times negative 2? That's positive 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. So I know that f of negative 2 is 10. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite that with that in place of f of negative 2. I'm going to write g of f of negative 2. What is f of negative 2? That's 10. And there we are. So now I go to the g function and replace x with 10. Excuse me, not that x with 10. And that g of 10 will give me 10 squared, which is 100. Okay, if we go down here, we have two functions. So let's rewrite this. F of g of x. We're only looking at the inside function, nothing else, just the middle function. What's g of x? G of x is x to the 4th power. The x is replacing x. That means nothing changes. So I rewrite it. F of, and what's g of x? Is x to the 4th. Just like that. Now we rewrite the f function with this replacing x. So this is going to go in place of x, giving us negative 9 times, what's x? X to the 4th plus 3. And we can simplify this one really easy. Just negative 9 times x to the 4th is negative 9 x to the 4th plus 3. And there you go. And if you can't simplify it, I'd accept that other answer just fine too. Number 19. F of g of x. We look at just the insidemost piece right here, and we ignore the rest. So g of x. What is g of x? G of x is this. See, g of x equals this. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. F of g of x is x minus 3. Okay, so now we take this and replace the x with it, giving us not f, x minus 3 squared plus 7. See, I'm just replacing the x right there with that piece. Okay, and if you want to solve it, you can, or you can just circle it and show me where it's being plugged in. Okay, and the last one I'm going to do is number 21. G of f of x. And from here, we look at it and we say, okay, now we're replacing just the innermost piece, f of x, right here. So we have this. And now what is f of x? F of x, we see, equals this piece right here. So those are the same thing. So I'm going to put this in g of x. So g of, what is f of x? F of x is x minus 1. So now I look at it and I say, okay, what am I replacing x with? I'm replacing x with this right there and right there. Now all you got to do is show me you know how to replace it. So g of x is x squared, so this x minus 1 squared plus 2 times x. What is x? X minus 1 minus 8. Okay, and I don't know how to simplify that. I mean, I'd accept this answer if you want to give me this answer, because I haven't taught you how to simplify that, but you do know how to simplify this, giving you x minus 1 squared. What's 2 times x? That's plus 2x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 8. And negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. So x minus 1 squared plus 2x minus 10. So I would accept either of these answers. But that's how you do it. I just want to see that you know how to plug things in and substitute the functions for each other and build functions on top of functions. Hopefully this helps.